Springfield, Illinois, 1908, hometown of Abraham Lincoln, and a symbol of freedom amongst the nation. Yet within its calm streets, a story of fire and fury was buried, a story that changed the city forever.
The 1908 Springfield Race Riot was one of the many race riots at the turn of the century, but this one was different. It shook the nation and ignited a movement. Out of its ashes came the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP.
The organization spread like wildfire. One woman falsely accused George Richardson of assault. She later admitted her attacker was white, but the damage had already been done. In the second case involved a teenager, Joe James, accused of murder. Rumors had outran the truth, and anger drowned out evidence.
And by evening, a mob gathered at the county jail, hundreds shouting for a lynching. They wanted the prisoners dragged out, but learning the accused had been moved for safety, that's when all reason snapped. They went crazy. They tried to lynch any black person that they could find. They stormed black homes, burned stores, and dragged people into the street simply for just being black. They didn't just kill, they wanted to make a statement.
The riot escalated into 2 days of terror. Homes were smashed and burned. Streets were turned into battlegrounds.
One of the first victims was William K. Donegan, an 84-year-old shoemaker who once made boots for Abraham Lincoln. He lived in a mostly white neighborhood. The mob dragged him outside, beat him, slashed his throat, and hung him in a tree. He survived the night but died the next morning.
Another victim was a young black man killed and hung near Madison and 12th Street. He had nothing to do with the accusations, nothing to do with what started the riot. He was simply killed because he was black.
To save themselves, white homeowners hung white sheets from their windows so the mob would spare their houses. Those marked as black homes were burned, some with families trapped inside. Fire brigaders were blocked by rioters.
17 people died, 9 black, 8 white, and nearly all the financial loss, over $150,000, around $5 million today, fell on black Springfield residents.
The following newspaper article was written shortly after the race riot. The article covers the measures which Illinois' 23rd governor, Governor Charles S. Deanon, implemented to regain control of the situation in Springfield. Governor Deanon additionally gave his thoughts on the riot as a whole during the article.
With 1,800 troops stationed throughout the city, and with the 600 members of the 2nd Regiment due to arrive in the city this morning, the situation in Springfield shows a decided improvement. Beyond the work of the mob and hanging William Donegan to a tree at Spring and Edward Street, there was little disturbance last night in the city to engage the attention of the troops. The militia was distributed in various sections under the supervision of General E.C. Young of Chicago. The various companies were stationed as follows.
This article shows us that the rioting which occurred during the race riot was so extreme and unprecedented that state-level government had to intervene. This riot was not merely deadly, but also an all-out assault on basic human rights for many innocent black and white citizens of Springfield.
Inside this courtroom, another tragedy unfolded. Joe James, accused of murder, returned to Springfield after the riot to await his trial. He faced a jury made up of people who had likely cheered in the streets during the riot against him. His trial was swift. Historians say the best evidence was thin at best.
He was sentenced to hang, a death shaped by the same hatred that fueled the riot.
The riot scarred Springfield deeply. Blocks of homes were gone, families displaced, and lives destroyed.
But the scale of the violence forced the country to pay attention. Reformers, journalists, and civil rights leaders saw Springfield, Lincoln's home, descend into chaos. If racism could reach the city, it could reach anywhere. In 1909, that outrage helped ignite a new movement, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP.
Over a century later, the clues still surface. Archaeologists uncovered burned foundations and artifacts, silent witnesses to a riot many wanted to erase.
The 2023 National Park Service study proved that these sites matter. They show that forgetting does not heal the mistakes of the past, but remembering does. To think anew and act anew means facing our past honestly and building a better future.
The 1908 Springfield race riot reminds us that injustice can hide anywhere, even in Lincoln's hometown, but the truth survives if we seek it.
This is unrelated to the project, but Jatelyn broke her car mirror while we were filming it. So please give her money. Link in description. Go send Jatelyn money.